Tonight, the effort to save lives as suicide rates continue to rise nationwide. In Kent County last year, there was a new record high of suicides.
New tonight, Joe Alicio has a story of a man devoting his life to lowering those numbers.
Marlene and Brian, David Ingles has been a basketball coach for well over 20 years. He's known for wearing these colorful pants that you see on game night. You see him wear them on game night, and they often spark a comment or two from a fan or even an opposing player, all in fun, of course. But once you know his story, it won't be his clothes or even a final score that will have you talking.
I loved all the other sports, but basketball is what I love to do. That day I didn't even worry about it. Just hopped in the car and went. I'm gonna have you run the point for that white team for a little bit and see how you do. The ride was just like this. No, I didn't have the radio on. I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to be outside. I love to hunt and fish. Just blindly driving to my spot. I think that was probably the last. That was the last thing for me. Good, talk it.
Just the love of the game you can see just oozes off of him. Probably the best coach I've ever had, and we love him.
Good, Benny!
Like many coaches, David Ingles' career on the sidelines began as a player, a kid.
I've had a ball in my hand forever.
Ingles was good enough to play in college, but early into his sophomore year, just making it to the gym seemed like a big victory.
After a practice, I'd have to go back in my dorm and just lay down, and then getting up the next day was almost impossible.
A bulging disc forced Ingles to the sidelines for good. While he tried to heal physically, he poured his life into coaching. During that time, he met his wife, Pam. Their daughter, Marley, was born in 2007.
Screen it.
Just 5 years later, now the head coach and dean of students at Muskegon Catholic Central, he helped guide the Crusaders to a berth in the state Final Four.
I'd made it. That was the mecca of high school basketball. That was if I'm going to coach high school, we're going to get to Breslin.
But his back just wasn't getting better. The disc ruptured. Surgery and pain meds weren't working. Over time, it wasn't just pain in his back he was fighting.
When they weren't home, I'd just no television, sit on the couch in the dark. Not only am I not bringing in income, I'm costing the family money because I have to go to doctors all the time and physical therapy.
It was, for lack of a better word, almost kind of like a hermit. You know, he didn't want to do anything except just kind of sit there.
With two exceptions. Of course, there's basketball. 2017 was Ingles' third year at Kent City. The other?
And I'm sitting at home alone. I've been just sitting there all day with just those thoughts in my head. And I just texted my wife and I said, look, I'm going hunting.
But the plan was not to hunt. Ingles says this is the first time he was having serious thoughts about suicide.
By the time I had gotten here, I'd already made the decision of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it.
But just moments before Ingles was going to get his gun from the back of his car, the phone rang.
It startled me. It scared me because I was kind of zoned out. I said it was a buddy just calling to see how I was doing. And it kind of woke me up, which was basically saved me.
Less than 2 weeks later, it was his wife, Pam, who arrived home to find her husband looking nothing like the man she knew.
You know, when he turned around, it was just pale. There was like nothing there, and I'm like, what's going on? And he just broke down. Man, to think that I'd let myself get to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore is tough. Think that you'd miss out on some of the things you've missed out on.
Like his daughter Marley, now 12, in a play just a few weeks ago.
You would not have seen me there. It's tough. But when you're in the state I was in, that never even crossed my mind. It blows my mind that I wouldn't think about that. But when you got to the point I was at, it doesn't even cross your mind. That's why it's so important you got to talk to someone.
That's what he did. First, a counselor.
And we use, like you said, a scale of 1 to 10, and they just say, hey, how you doing today?
While he was doing that, something special was happening with his team.
Thank goodness the basketball season was amazing last year. That was huge.
Kent City was embarking on a journey to perfection. The Eagles finished the regular season 20-0. Thanks in large part to that record, the local sports journal in Muskegon County asked Ingles to do a piece on his coaching career. Ingles decided to tell everything, from his back to his bouts with depression.
I didn't think, I was shy, I was scared. Look, I don't want people to know what I'm going through, but it's helped me.
He was very courageous in telling us all and opening up, and now he's using his struggles for a positive.
Ingles is now speaking to students, teachers, and area teams, anyone that will listen.
I don't know about you, but I don't believe that things just happen for no reason at all.
It helps him, step by step, with what will always be a struggle, his struggle.
I believe that I'm a lot better place now than I was. You can't always carry the load. If you are struggling, talk to someone. You have to ask for help. You never know what somebody's going through. We ask for help all the time for things, but when it comes to something really important like your life, you tend to keep quiet. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do when I'm talking to people. You would not believe how many people are going through the exact same thing. Share my story and get them to open up.
It's already saved his life, and just maybe it will save another.
If you're interested in learning more about David Ingles, his story, his message, visit his website, CoachInglesTalks.com. He certainly wants to hear from you, and we have a link on our website, woodtv.com.
Boy, pretty powerful there, Joe. You know, it's amazing, too, that sharing his feelings, that was something that was difficult for him, but now that's become the focus of his mission.
It really has, and it's opened so many doors, and specifically with how he coaches basketball. The MHSAA, which is the high school sports governing body here in Michigan, they've asked him to sit on a task force that addresses depression and suicide. So I'm feeling you'll be hearing from David Ingles a lot more.
That's
in
fantastic.
the coming years.
It's very important, a critical conversation, and what a strong man to continue talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
And our conversation continues after the break. We'll talk with a mental health expert about what we should all be looking for to make sure our friends and family are doing all right.
And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, there's help. A hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number right there on your screen.